Supernatural relied on the chemistry and dynamic between Sam, Jared Padalecki, and Dean Winchester, Jensen Ackles, to propel the emotional journey of the fantasy TV show. While a large part of why fans and critics tuned into the series had to do with the action, adventure, and thrilling lore of the narrative, the character-driven drama is what set Supernatural apart. There are many episodes that delve into deeper, serious territory, especially when it comes to Dean's arc. Unlike Sam, Dean is always quicker to bury his true feelings, making it particularly impactful when he opens up. All the best standalone episodes of Supernatural showcase how the writers of the show always knew how to tug at the audience's heartstrings. Running for 15 seasons, the minds behind Supernatural had to push themselves to keep the story fresh and surprise the audience, especially in the final season. Though there are some poignant moments throughout season 15, there have been complaints that the emotional highs and lows of the show's conclusion didn't live up to the saddest installments of the story. These episodes are far more memorable than most of season 15. Dean Winchester's memory loss in season 12 is his saddest story of the entire series. Regarding Dean breathes new life into the emotional arcs of the characters. The supernatural Dean Winchester memory loss scene is one of the saddest moments of the show. In the season 12 episode, Regarding Dean, the audience watches along with Sam as Dean slowly loses his memory. Unlike the times in the early seasons when we had to grapple with Dean's death, this episode takes a much more nuanced look at the nature of a person's soul and identity. By the end of the episode, Sam and the viewer begin to notice that losing his memory might be a fate worse than death for Dean. Sam comments that watching Dean completely lose his identity and the parts of himself that make him Dean is a kind of loss that neither brother had faced before. There are many devastating moments in Supernatural, and Dean gets his heart broken many times over. This happens in Dark Side of the Moon, when he sees that Sam's happiest memories happened without their family. However, in Regarding Dean, Supernatural is at its best. While it's a tragic story, it hits home and showcases how well the series knows its audience. Sam and Dean have died many times throughout Supernatural. From the very beginning of the show, the stakes were always life and death, and the series finale was far from the first time that Dean faced his morality head-on. While it makes sense that a show that deals with the relationship between heaven and hell would blur the lines about the permanent nature of death, there are only so many times the protagonists can perish before it starts to get a little stale. This issue was exemplified in the season 15 finale, Carry On. Supernatural season 15 was controversial from the start, and ending such a beloved and long-running show doesn't come without its challenges. However, when compared to the emotional intensity of Regarding Dean, Dean's death in Carry On is anticlimactic at best. The episode sees Dean die suddenly at the hands of a monster he could have easily defeated, and he simply accepts his fate and passes on, leaving Sam to live a normal life. While there are touching moments after this, it doesn't hold a candle to the feelings that Regarding Dean sparks in the viewer. While Regarding Dean is a Supernatural episode that I wish I could watch again for the first time, the series finale didn't have as much of an impact on me. Going into the finale of such an iconic show, I was prepared to be moved. However, Supernatural wasn't an opportunity to make viewers cry and grieve the end of the story, as it had been a hallmark of fantasy television since 2005. If done correctly, Carry On could have been a finale that went down in history instead of a confusing addition to the show's legacy. There are so many amazing episodes and seasons of Supernatural, and the fact that the finale was a little underwhelming doesn't change this. I still loved the series and felt decently satisfied by the reunions and full circle moments that were seen throughout Carry On. However, I was underwhelmed by the finale because I've seen what the show is capable of in episodes like Regarding Dean. The way the show handled the memory loss clearly indicated that Supernatural could have pushed itself in the final season. Let's face it, Dean Winchester deserved a more positive fate in season 15. Dean didn't have to die for Carry On to be a memorable finale. One of the biggest complaints that could be lodged against Carry On is that Dean deserved much better than this last-minute death. Dean has a line where he claims that dying at the hands of a monster was always going to be his fate, but it doesn't seem fair that Dean's life is cut short while Sam gets to fulfill his dreams of growing old and having a family. There's no reason why Dean couldn't have done the same, as his character had come a long way since the start of the show and was capable of settling down. Even if Supernatural didn't want Dean to settle down, he could have continued being a hunter and be there for Sam's kids. While it makes sense on one hand for Dean to die, as he's danced around this fate for so many years, it could have been a nice subversion to see him get the happy ending he always deserved. Sam and Dean gave everything they had to the world and sacrificed a lot to save it many times over. It would have made me happy to see Dean get to live out the rest of his life in Supernatural.